Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. So today we have an exciting video. I have a timer here and we are gonna teach you how to bowl under 5 minutes. Let's get to it. Alright guys, so the first tip that we're gonna talk about here is make sure you're wearing bowling shoes. So why bowling shoes versus street shoes? So bowling shoes are gonna have a smoother sole on the bottom of the shoe that's gonna help you slide. So the slide is really important because it's gonna help you to get more power on the bowling ball. So normal street shoes, they're just gonna have a normal rubber sole and it's gonna be really hard to slide. And if you try to slide wearing a normal shoe, you might stick onto the lane, possibly injuring yourself. Alright guys, so the second thing that we're going to talk about here is the approach. So the approach is a series of steps that you're going to take before you throw the bowling ball. So if you're a left-handed bowler, you want to end up with your right foot, and if you're a right-handed bowler, you want to end up with your left foot. And most approaches are going to be 4 or 5 steps. So the key for this is make sure you start slow. Sometimes when you get to the bowling alley, you start just grab the ball and start running to the foul line. You want to take it slow before you throw the bowling ball. So if you're going to use a 4-step approach, if you're a right-hander like me, I want to start with my right foot. And then that's how I'm going to end up with my left foot as my slide. So again, I want to start slow, find the rhythm, and then on the last step, you want to try to slide a little bit. And that slide is going to help you to transfer a little power to the bowling ball. Alright guys, so the third thing that we're going to talk about here is how to pick the right bowling ball. So whenever you come to the bowling alley, you're gonna see a tons of bowling balls and they all gonna have different numbers and colors. So these numbers are gonna mean the weight. So the lightest one that you can possibly pick is gonna be the 6-pound bowling ball, and the heaviest one is gonna be 16-pound bowling ball. So for reference, I use a 15-pound bowling ball, but I also been bowling for pretty much all my life. So you're gonna pick a bowling ball that doesn't feel too light for you, but also you don't want to pick the heaviest one just because you think you can throw it. So just like the weights, also you're gonna notice that the bowling balls come in different sizes. So you're gonna have a small, medium, large, and extra large. So how do you know which one's gonna fit better for you? You're gonna have to find that in between that it's gonna be great for you. You pick a bowling ball that is too large for you, you're gonna have trouble holding that bowling ball. It's gonna feel super heavy, and if it's too small, it's gonna be super uncomfortable. It's just gonna be hard to actually release that bowling ball because the ball wouldn't want to come off. In my case, I just use a medium size and it works great for me. You just gotta make sure you find the right bowling ball for your own game. Alright guys, so the fourth thing that we're going to talk about here is hooking the bowling ball. So I know you've seen on TV the pros or other bowlers hooking the bowling ball when they're bowling, and it's not just because it looks pretty cool. It's because it's going to help you to get the right angle to get more strikes consistently. So today, let's go to the lanes and I'm going to show you how to properly release the bowling ball to get the perfect hook. Alright guys, so when it comes to hooking the bowling ball, it's going to be really important to keep your hand underneath the equator of the bowling ball. And also, make sure your wrist doesn't break. If you break your wrist, it's going to be impossible to apply any hook to that bowling ball. So you just got to make sure to keep that wrist a little bit cupped. And then when you release it, focus on releasing that thumb first and then rotating your fingers around the ball. Alright guys, so the 5th step that we're going to talk about here is targeting. So now that you know how to walk on the lane, you know how to release that bowling ball, now you gotta know where to aim that bowling ball. So first, you're gonna notice that there are some markers on the lanes. You're gonna notice some arrows and you're gonna notice some dots on the approach. So why do you wanna focus on the arrows? So first, if you're aiming all the way to the pins, it's gonna be really hard for you to hit a mark that is 60 feet away. If you're aiming to the arrows, it's only 15 feet away and it's gonna be easier to consistently hit that marker. As an extra tip, it's really important to mention that the reason that you cannot step further than the foul line is because the lanes have oil. And that oil is not just because it protects the lane, but it also determines how you're gonna play the lane. So by playing to the right, you're gonna find more friction, so it's more viable to find a hook towards the right of the lane. But if you play towards the middle, it's gonna be less hook because there is gonna be more oil. So you're gonna notice your ball going straighter if you try to play in the middle. So now that you learn how to hook the bowling ball correctly, if you put yourself closer to the gutter, it's gonna be easier for you to create that hook because there is gonna be more friction than if you play in the middle of the lane. All right guys, so there you go. That was how to bowl under 5 minutes. Now you can go out, have some fun with your friends. Please let us know in the comments if these tips help you out. And yeah, hopefully we'll see you on the next video.